The story of the American Revolution is one of courage, determination, and the pursuit of liberty. Imagine a time when America, a land of vast potential, was under the control of the mighty British Empire. The colonists in America, initially migrants seeking new opportunities, found themselves subject to the dictates of a distant king and a parliament thousands of miles away. Farmers, merchants, artisans, and families had carved out lives for themselves in this new world. But as the British grip tightened, a sense of unease began to spread. The colonists, used to a degree of self-governance, felt increasingly marginalized and controlled by decisions made in London without their consent. This desire for self-determination, for the right to govern themselves, would eventually ignite the flames of revolution. The colonists, proud and independent, yearned for a say in their own affairs. At the heart of the colonists' grievances lay a simple yet powerful principle: no taxation without representation. The colonists believed that it was fundamentally unjust to be subjected to taxes imposed by the British Parliament when they had no elected representatives to voice their concerns or protect their interests. They argued that just as they had no say in the laws being imposed upon them, they should not be forced to shoulder the financial burden of an empire that treated them as mere revenue generators. The colonists viewed this demand as a matter of principle, a fundamental right that was being denied to them. They pointed to the long-standing tradition of self-government in England, where Parliament had evolved as a body representing the interests of the people. The British government, however, viewed the colonies as extensions of the empire, existing primarily to serve its interests. They saw the colonists' demands for representation as a threat to their authority, a challenge to the very structure of imperial power. This difference in perspective, this fundamental clash of ideologies, would prove to be irreconcilable. The simmering tensions between Britain and its American colonies finally boiled over with the passage of the Stamp Act in 1765. This act, passed by the British Parliament without any input from the colonists, required them to pay a tax on virtually every piece of printed paper they used. The Stamp Act was seen by the colonists as a direct assault on their livelihoods and their rights. Protests erupted across the colonies. People from all walks of life, united in their opposition to the Stamp Act, took to the streets to voice their anger. They organized boycotts of British goods, refusing to buy anything that would generate revenue for the Crown. The Stamp Act proved to be a turning point in the relationship between Britain and its American colonies. It marked a significant escalation in the conflict, pushing the two sides closer to the brink of war. The Boston Tea Party, one of the most iconic events leading up to the American Revolution, was a dramatic act of defiance against British policies. In 1773, the British East India Company, facing financial difficulties, was granted a monopoly on tea sales to the American colonies. The colonists saw the Tea Act as another attempt by the British government to impose its will upon them without their consent. On the night of December 16, 1773, a group of colonists disguised as Native Americans boarded 3 British ships docked in Boston Harbor. They proceeded to dump 342 chests of tea into the harbor, sending a powerful message of resistance that resonated throughout the colonies and across the Atlantic. The Boston Tea Party was a turning point in the struggle for American independence. It was a bold and calculated act of defiance, a clear signal that the colonists were no longer willing to tolerate British tyranny. The incident further strained relations with Britain, pushing the two sides closer to the brink of war. Section 5. A leader emerges: George Washington and the Continental Army. As tensions with Britain escalated, a sense of unity began to emerge among the American colonies. Among them emerged a figure who would come to embody the spirit of the American Revolution: George Washington. George Washington, a Virginia planter and veteran of the French and Indian War, was a man of unwavering integrity, quiet strength, and a deep commitment to the cause of liberty. In 1775, the Second Continental Congress, meeting in Philadelphia, appointed Washington as Commander-in-Chief of the newly formed Continental Army. This ragtag force, composed of volunteers from all 13 colonies, was poorly equipped and lacking in formal military training. Yet, under Washington's leadership, they would go on to challenge the might of the British Empire. Washington's leadership was instrumental in guiding the Continental Army through the long and arduous war for independence. Section 6. A Declaration of Freedom. July 4th, 1776. On July 4th, 1776, the Continental Congress, meeting in Philadelphia, took a momentous step that would forever alter the course of history. They formally adopted the Declaration of Independence, a document that proclaimed to the world the birth of a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. The Declaration of Independence, primarily authored by Thomas Jefferson, was a powerful articulation of the colonists' grievances against British rule and their aspirations for self-governance. It eloquently laid out the principles of natural rights, popular sovereignty, and the right of revolution, ideas that would resonate far beyond the shores of America. The Declaration of Independence was a bold and revolutionary document. It declared that the 13 American colonies were no longer subject to British rule and were now free and independent states. The signing of the Declaration of Independence was a pivotal moment in the American Revolution. Section 7. The Long Road to Victory, Securing Independence. The signing of the Declaration of Independence did not bring an immediate end to the fighting. The American Revolution was a long and arduous struggle, a test of endurance and resilience for the fledgling nation. The Continental Army, outnumbered and outgunned, faced a formidable foe in the British military. The war raged on for 7 long years, marked by periods of intense fighting and strategic retreats. The tide began to turn in favor of the Americans with the crucial victory at Saratoga in 1777. This victory, a major turning point in the war, convinced France to formally ally with the Americans, providing much-needed financial and military support. In 1783, the Treaty of Paris was signed, formally recognizing the independence of the United States of America. Section 8. Independence Day, a celebration of freedom. Every year on July 4th, Americans come together to celebrate Independence Day, a joyous occasion marked by parades, fireworks, barbecues, and family gatherings. It is a day to reflect on the sacrifices made by those who fought for American independence and to celebrate the freedoms enjoyed by all Americans. Independence Day is not just a celebration of the past, but a reaffirmation of the values upon which the United States was founded: liberty, equality, and self-governance. The celebration of Independence Day is a testament to the enduring power of the American spirit, a spirit of resilience, determination, and a belief in the promise of a better future. Section 9. The Dream of Equality, from Revolution to Civil Rights. The American Revolution was a triumph for liberty, but the journey towards a more perfect union was far from over. The newly formed nation, while proclaiming the equality of all men, continued to grapple with the legacy of slavery and the systemic discrimination faced by African Americans. It would take another century and countless struggles for the ideals of the Declaration of Independence to be fully realized for all Americans. Leaders like Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, and countless others dedicated their lives to fighting for the abolition of slavery and the recognition of equal rights for all. In the 20th century, the struggle for civil rights gained momentum under the leadership of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Inspired by the principles of nonviolent resistance championed by Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. King led a movement that challenged segregation, discrimination, and disenfranchisement. The American Revolution, with its emphasis on liberty and equality, serves as a constant reminder that the pursuit of a more perfect union is an ongoing process, requiring vigilance, courage, and a commitment to upholding the principles upon which the nation was founded. Exposing the hidden links between history, business, and geopolitics. Welcome to Study Biz His Geopolitics Knowledge for Everyone. Thanks to the support of our ONC Foundation. Today we're exploring the thrilling intersection of business, history, and geopolitics. Imagine the Silk Road, not just a trade route, but a highway of cultural and economic exchange that shaped empires and economies. Or think about the Cold War, where corporate espionage became a tool of geopolitical strategy. SBHG dives deep into these fascinating stories, making complex topics understandable and engaging. We connect the dots between past events and today's business landscape, giving you insights that are both historical and practical. From the Medici family's banking empire in Renaissance Italy to China's rise as a global economic powerhouse, we cover it all. Our videos provide a unique lens on how history and geopolitics influence business decisions in global markets. Don't miss out. Hit subscribe and join us on this journey to decode the global game. With StudyBiz His Geopolitics, you're not just learning, you're gaining the knowledge to navigate the world. Thanks for watching. Remember, at StudyBiz His Geopolitic, knowledge for everyone. Thanks to the YNEC Foundation.